If anyone else joins on, we'll give them an opportunity to introduce themselves during introductions. But welcome everyone to Open in Indiana Networking on Zoom. We're here to help promote each other's business and find ways to be stronger advocates for each other's brand. We have a fantastic speaker lined up today. And before we get to her for her presentation, let's all take a few moments to go around, introduce ourselves, the business that we represent, what a good prospect looks like for you, and then the answer to today's icebreaker, which is you're handed $10,000 cash with no taxes or other obligations. So, what's the first thing you're doing? And Sherrita, since you'll be our presenter later in the meeting, we'll start with you.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. I am Sherrita Niles. I run a company called In Connection Strategies, which is a creative strategic planning agency. What I do is help individuals eliminate business challenges through networking and building effective relationships. The ideal client for me is someone who already is either working with an established business or has established their own business in the growth and expansion phase. And if I was given $10,000 tax free today, I would definitely be on my way to Hawaii.
Awesome. Thank you, Sherrita. Next up, we have Kristen.
Good morning. I'm Kristen with Firestorm Restoration. We are a full service restoration company serving commercial and residential clients. We do everything, and including the roof all the way down to your crawl space or basement. We carpet clean and we clean up after trauma and meth scenes. So if you know of anybody that could need or use our services, we all know it's not a matter of if, just a matter of when Mother Nature is going to strike. We hope that you have somebody that you can call. We'd love it for it to be us. We offer free estimates, free quotes, or we'll simply just come out and do the job for you, and would love to be of service to you as well. We are located down in Franklin. We'd like to stay within a 60-mile radius, but the truth be known, if the job is big enough, we certainly will go outside and come and provide the service. As far as the money goes, if I was handed $10,000, I would just save it all. I would just stash it away. I know it's boring, but that's what I would do.
Awesome. Thank you, Kristen. Next up, we have Bill.
Good morning, everyone. Bill Hammond with Primerica Advisors. I know that I've been talking about April being Earth Month, and Earth Day was last week, and talking about socially responsible investing and so forth, that I can help you with that if that's something that you or someone else you know is interested in. But I also would like to put up a new focus coming into the next month of May. Month of May, we have a lot of graduations beginning to occur, whether that's high school or college graduations, and folks maybe just getting ready to jump out now into the world and beginning to wonder, how they're going to handle certain financial issues. And I can help with that. We have a complimentary financial needs analysis, can help new graduates kind of explore their financials and get some ideas, at least beginning to start to set the basics of a plan, as well as other things that we can begin to explore. And so that's what I'm looking for. My ask is if you either in your family or you know someone that might be interested in having this done, and kind of helping them take a look at it, and even getting them a copy of a brochure that we have, which is called How Money Works. Have them get in touch with me, and we'll start with there. Nothing else, either over a Zoom call or maybe meet someplace for a cup of coffee after I get my second shot in another week. So Bill Hammond with Primerica Advisors. And I'm going to probably fall into Kristen's category. Take that money and stash it. And since it's tax-free, I'll probably stash it in something that I have ownership in, municipal bonds, and stash it in there so I won't have to pay any taxes on it anymore. So until I kind of decide what I want to do, which the trip to Hawaii sounds good. There's a few other warm places. Maybe there's a big boat once they finally start floating cruise ships that might attract my attention. So I'll just park that money someplace where it will draw interest, but I will not have any tax liability, and wait until some urge finally hits me. Bill Handel with Primerica Advisors.
Awesome. Thank you, Bill. Next up, we have Will.
Hello, can anybody hear me pretty well? How's it going, everybody? My name is Will Armstead from awcwebmarketing.net. I'm a web design programmer. I build websites and update websites. I can do a website for your e-commerce, for your business. So I can do a website for your charity organization or any event you have coming up. If you have several different things that you're doing, I can do a personal website that links everything together. Links to social media, social video, keep it updated. A good client for me is someone who's marketing a unique product or service, or selling a unique product or service. I can actually find ways to some free advertising for you. I like to have a website show the personality of someone's business. And my tagline is, where there's a will, there's a way, and there's a will for the web. And I guess me, Kristen, and Bill are all going to meet each other at the bank, because we're all going to be depositing that money into savings. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Will. Next up, we have Sharon.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sharon Schweitzer with BioWaves of Central Indiana. I'm a biodynamic craniosacrotherapist. And what I do is a somatic practice. It brings the body and mind together. It slows you down so that you can feel and release tension and become relaxed. And then when your body is in that state, it can heal. So that's what I do. And on the my what client? My best client would be someone who maybe is, the medical profession is great. I wanted to be in the medical profession, but when people aren't getting the satisfaction or the results they need with that, then they turn to other alternative or complementary things, which is what I do. And then they're like, why didn't I do this first? So I look for those kind of people who are still like in pain or still having issues with whatever illness or disease they may have, and they want to be rid of that. And what was the question again? Sorry. By no other obligations, you mean I won't use it to pay credit off? Is that what you credit cards off? No obligations. Well, I would probably give some of it to my grandkids and my kids to spend on something they would like. And then I would also save some of it to go to Europe. And then I might use a little bit of it to pay Will to update my website. So it wouldn't all go to one place, but part of it would be a vacation. Yes, for sure.
Awesome. Thank you, Sharon. Next up, we have Jeanette.
Good morning, Jeanette with Peterson Accounting Services, specializing in individual income tax returns. And I'm growing a little concerned at this point. We have 3 weeks left in the season, and I have over 200 potential clients yet. So I think there are going to be a lot of people getting extensions filed and filing after the deadline. So when they announced the extension, it was like somebody disconnected my phone at the same time. So it's been a little frustrating for me. So anyway, $10,000. We're going to go from the extremely practical to the absolute fun thing to do. We would like to go back to Norway. We're probably looking at somewhere in that vicinity of money to do that. But on the other hand, the house needs a new roof. So it's hard to say what we do with it.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeanette. Next up.
Sorry, I just moved to Norway and forget the house.
There are things that most people don't know about Norway, and the main thing is a 49% income tax rate. So no, we will not be moving to Norway.
But everything is free school,
That's
free
why there's a
healthcare.
49% tax rate.
All right. Thank you, Jeanette. Next up, we have Patrick.
Hey, good morning. I actually am part of a 3PL trucking company. So we are growing by leaps and bounds this year. So what I'm looking for as an ideal customer is if you see a dock and a truck backed into it, that's actually our client. So always looking to expand a network and understand more about what people are doing. And then the second thing that I do is I actually buy and sell companies. So the trucking company I own is an acquisition that me and my partners made, is venture capitalists that we've hung on to. So what I do with $10,000, no binding obligations behind it. Ironically, I would put $5,000 directly into my trucking company as we're making a development decision on software platforms here in the next week. And the other 5,000 I would actually give to my church, as there's a tremendous drive we're putting on this year to grow that organization. So a little on the boring side, but both would yield results.
Awesome. Thank you, Patrick. Please make sure to drop your contact info into the chat so everyone in today's meeting can connect. All right. Next up, we have Tony.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I had a UPS delivery right at when the meeting was starting. I intended to come earlier. Tony Doster, career transition, business startup support, helping veterans and others realize what their future could be like, perhaps in a new career, helping with everything from LinkedIn profiles to mock interviews and introducing folks to the world of business ownership, including franchising, which could apply to those who are maybe just don't know the why of their life of what they really should do, or to experienced business people who want to diversify. Got a mock interview this afternoon with someone on the East Coast. I haven't looked up what state they're at. Looking for an Amazon job that came through me to my Hires Heroes USA group that I work with. And so I'll be helping him kind of figure out and navigate the waters with regard to what a career with Amazon might look like. So I'm sorry, Ryan, I didn't understand the question. You're giving me 10,000. That's more than generous of you. I'm so delighted. I'm glad I showed up.
Right, and with no taxes. So what's the first thing you're going to do?
So obviously this comes from some cartel money and some South American investment that I guess we don't ask questions about.
Well, just bring your shovel because it's buried at the park.
Okay, that's fine. So this is you want to know what I do with a $10,000 windfall? Okay, well, I some of you know I've just come to Indiana down here within the past 3 years and just kind of trying to scope it out and so on. So making a real estate acquisition, but right now I'd put it in the bank because I'm not chasing this market. So it's going to be sitting there for a future tract of land purchase. So that's what I would do with it for right now.
Awesome. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Well, everybody, good morning. My name is Ryan Henry, and I'm the idea guy for Open in Indiana. We help entrepreneurs connect, learn, and promote a successful local business. So I have a specific ask today. I'm looking to connect with anyone who has a hard time using the computer without yelling a bunch of really unkind 4-letter words. If that describes you or anyone you know, I'd love to talk to them. I can help you learn how to use the tools and apps necessary to build a successful business. So anything from getting your social media up and running to figuring out your email marketing campaigns, I would love to help provide you that one-on-one help. And to answer today's question about a $10,000 windfall, I'm going straight to the vintage and antique instruments section of my favorite music shop. So I would love to find some old guitars, preferably before they switched to synthetic finishes in the 70s, something that just kind of feels and plays more naturally than stuff made after that. Let's see. Kim,
What
I
about
am
a
so sorry.
saxophone?
Kim, I'm coming back to you. So, sorry, the picture flipping. So I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but we're going to make sure we get to you now.
I'm just messing with you. Um, so Kristen went away. She told us a story last week about a customer that she had that had some, they had to go in and clean up some urine. And this morning I heard her tell a story that, where is she? Are you there? This morning she told a better story yet. So she might not want to tell this group that story because she doesn't want you to call her to have that cleanup type of thing again. But that's her story to tell. So I'm Kim with Culligan Water. What we do is we help people get softer, smoother hair and skin, fluffier laundry, and extend the life of their water-driven appliances. And we do that through way of a water softener. What a water softener does is it removes the calcium, magnesium, and iron from your water. City water, well water, doesn't matter what kind of water. It generally is going to be hard if you live in Indiana. 85% of the homes in Indiana have hard water. We also have drinking water systems for anyone who might be interested in learning more about that. I will put my information in the chat and you can get with me. Next week, I'm the speaker at Southside Marketing Group, and we're going to be doing some taste testing. We're going to test some, we're going to taste some well water and some ice mountain or spring water. We're going to taste some reverse osmosis bottled water, and we're going to taste some tap water from Indiana American Water. So that's going to be fun. Anybody who wants to join, we meet every Monday from 9 to 10 a.m. and we meet at the Sterling Event Center. So if anybody was interested in visiting, feel free to do so at 9 o'clock. The answer to my question is, it was originally the answer was the same as many of the savers on this call. I was going to put it in the bank. I love to have $10,000 in the bank. I love the number 10,000, and I love to have $10,000 in the savings account. It's just an emergency fund. I'm a Dave Ramsey girl, and I like to have a minimum of $10,000 at my disposal at all times. But Sherrita actually thought, she said that she would go to Hawaii. So I'm thinking, you know what? I would definitely take some of that money and take my family on a vacation. We used to do the annual vacations, and then life happened, and nursing school for my daughter, and then my grandson was born, so on and so forth. And we haven't had a vacation, so I would really probably take a vacation and save the rest.
Awesome. Thank you, Kim. All right. I think I got to everybody, and I just by thumbs up or a wave, I got to everyone to do their introductions, correct? Okay, excellent. All right, so now at this time, I would like to introduce our speaker today who, looking at her chat, I love this title here, Your Business Challenge Assassin. So I would like to introduce to everyone here today, Sherrita Niles with In Connection Strategies. And she has a fantastic presentation for us about how to leverage networking relationships. So Sherrita, you have the floor.
All right, thank you. Welcome, everybody. I am so excited that everyone is here. It's been a while since I've been in one of these networking groups. It's probably been some months for me because it's been quite busy, but I see some faces that I recognize. I'm not great with names, so I'm going to ask your forgiveness up front. I'm horrible with names, but I never forget a face. So some of your faces are familiar. I've been in it before. And like Ryan said, I have a great presentation for you. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully I'll do this right. All right. Can everybody see that? Okay, awesome. Please ignore all my tabs at the top. I don't know how to make that go away. So just act like you don't see those, okay? All right. So the name of this presentation is Let's Get Real about effective relationship building. I am a professional relationship builder. I'm a networker, I am a connector, and I'm also a natural problem solver. All of these things are great for individuals who are in business because these are all of the things that help us to get to the level of success that we seek. All right. So, welcome. So glad you're here. It's my hope that you leave this presentation with a renewed perspective on the importance of relationship building in your workplace, business, and your life. Who I am. I am Sherrita Niles, a creative business strategist, aka the Business Challenge Assassin. I use my powers for good and not evil. Specifically, I assist business owners with eliminating business challenges through building and maintaining community networks. In Connection Strategies is the business that I own. It's a strategic planning agency serving small business owners and business professionals with accelerating their business growth by building and maintaining solid business relationships inside and outside of their company or organization. Our focus is helping you to build a stable and cohesive workforce. So if you have a team or if you're building a team, we assist with doing that. If you have employees and maybe they have not quite learned how to work well together, we help with that by coming in and doing some team development and team building activities. We develop strong community allies. A lot of times people work in areas and they are not familiar with the businesses that directly surround them, or those businesses are not familiar with what you do. We help you to improve that situation, which also establishes solid credibility for your company within your community, within the broader community, and with community members. So what you can expect from this presentation. The first thing that I would say you can expect is, excuse me, before I get to those two things, is this is very informal. If you have questions, feel free to chime in. The way that I am sharing my screen, I can't see anyone. You can probably see me, or you can put your questions in the chat and Ryan will let me know what's there. But this is informal. If you have questions, something doesn't make sense to you, please feel free to chime in. And then there will be time at the end for you to ask whatever questions that you have. The expectations from this presentation are that I am going to provide you with simple information that's easy to understand and digest, and actionable methods that you can use today if you choose to. So I ask that you keep an open mind. As I stated earlier, I am a creative business strategist, creativity being the operative word. So my methods are a little bit different than probably what you're used to, probably things that you've been trained on in the past. Everything that I do is rooted in creativity and the human connection. My goal is to put humanness back into business. Not sure if it's ever been there, but it should be there because our business depends on people. So it depends on humans to be successful. So I will provide you with some out-of-the-box solutions to common professional challenges. I just suggest that you take what you can, use what you can take, and give me some credit for giving you the idea. So let's get real. All right, so we're talking about relationships. And the definition of relationship is the way in which two or more people or groups regard and behave towards each other. This can apply to romantic relationships, familiar is what that's supposed to say, not familiar, or professional. So your family, your friends, romance, as well as business. So why are relationships important? Well, people need people. That's the bottom line answer to that. People need people. Without people, we don't have business. Without people, we don't have relationships. Without people, we don't really have life. All right. So the first step in building your relationships is an introduction. A lot of times we use introductions as, not even a lot of times, we use an introduction as our way to approach someone, to open a conversation, to begin. So connections begin with an introduction. The first step, this is the first step, which sets the platform for how this relationship will begin or how it will proceed. Everything else depends on your introduction. So introduction should start simply in a human form with a hello, how are you? Some simple greeting, and be as easy and humanly easy as possible. So we don't want to pounce on people and immediately start telling them about what it is that we do or what we feel like they should do. It should just start with, hi, how are you? And giving them an opportunity to respond and introduce themselves as well. Excuse me. Now, the way that you introduce yourself to somebody definitely is going to depend on the environment that you're in, the type of people that you're around, the purpose for meeting or making the connection, and various situations. All of those play a part in it. But as individuals, you should be able to determine what is appropriate as far as an introduction. So of course, you're not going to say something like, well, what's going on to someone in a professional networking event? Or maybe you will, if you're comfortable with that. The key to it is to be authentic, to be yourself, to be your absolute self, because when we put on a show or we put on airs, people are able to identify those things. So for the majority, hello or another similar greeting works. When a person enters the space and immediately begins talking about the purpose of the gathering, it becomes a bit intimidating, right? I'm sure we've all been in an intimidating situation at one point in our lives. Have you ever been to a presentation or a meeting, a class, an interview, and not been greeted pleasantly? Well, I have. It's a very, very intimidating situation. As a matter of fact, it switches the mood. It changes from being something that maybe you're looking forward to or you're comfortable with to something that's not so comfortable anymore. So it may seem like an introduction is not that important, but it actually is. One situation that I encountered was I went to an interview for a position and I was in the waiting area. Excuse me. The woman came out and the first thing she said was, "Are you Sherrita?" And I responded and said, "Yes." And her next words were, "Okay, great, follow me." At that point, it kind of changed how I felt about this interview because I had no idea who this woman was. We walked down the corridor, we got to a room, and my anxiety kind of heightened because I didn't know what to expect at this point. I went in feeling confident and feeling okay. And once this happened, it changed how I felt. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to feel. I was thinking, is she angry? Did I do something to upset her? Did I not dress well? I was dressed professionally. I was pleasant. So I didn't understand what was happening. When we entered the room, she immediately started giving me background on the position. And at some point, I think that my expression may have given her some type of insight because she asked if I was okay. And I responded and said, yes. I just was never informed of what your name was. And at that point, it changed the dynamic of our conversation. She immediately apologized. She told me her name. And then she said, "I'm sorry. This is my first time doing this interview. And I was just trying to get through it as quickly as possible." So for the both of us, we both were at an uncomfortable feeling, at an uncomfortable point, but we are both human. So human reaction is anxiety in an uncomfortable situation or, feeling uneasy. And we both had that, we both recognized it. And then from that point on, this interview went great. It actually went excellent. And I was offered the position. Unfortunately, I declined the position because there was something else that I needed to do, but I remained in contact with this individual. We talk often and we're still very well connected today. So just something so simple as changing the dynamic of how you interact with someone can change if they become someone that you have a professional relationship with. And it had nothing to do with sales. And honestly, we refer people to each other on a regular basis. So she helps me stay in business, I help her stay in business, and all of it started with a hello. All right, so this is one of my big pet peeves with people building relationships. A big no-no is the intro is not a time for you to give your pitch. No one likes it. You don't like it, just don't do it. I've had situations where people connect with me on LinkedIn or through some other social media platform. I've had individuals come up to me during networking events. After 5, like those professional, when you get off work, you go and you have a couple cocktails and maybe you're networking, or even a couple times in the grocery store. And the moment they meet me and maybe I say something like, oh, what is it that you do? I get a full pitch about the company that they have or that they work for, what they're looking for, the sales that they're having, all of the things. And they're not even sure if that fits who I am or is something that I'm interested in. I don't know if I don't know them very well. I'm not sure if I trust them, and I'm not even sure if I like them yet, but they give me their full pitch on what it is that they're selling, and there's some level of expectation that I'm going to purchase what they have to offer. A big thing that I think we miss sometimes, especially in sales, is that before someone will buy something for you, they have to know you, they need to like you, and they definitely have to trust you. People don't purchase things based on the product or the service. They purchase based on the person that is presenting it to them. So if you build a connection with the people that you are talking to, the chances of them becoming a client over just being someone interested are definitely much more higher than if you are just pitching to every single person. And also, pitching to every single person can wear you out. You need to identify like who your client is, and those are the people that you should be directing your energy towards. Well, we don't know that until we get to know someone or figure out who it is that we're speaking with, and that's where the connection starts. So I took the time to kind of make relationship building in a manner that all of us can relate to. I can't think of one person that is over the age of 18 or maybe over the age of 21 that has not had a romantic relationship. So I like to keep things light, a bit comical, and I use dating as a way to present relationship building in the professional world to individuals. So I always call the first time that you meet with someone, of course, that's the intro. But beyond the intro, it's your responsibility to get an opportunity to meet one-on-one with the person. So for me, I consider that a first date. Now, sometimes this first date can be similar to a blind date. This is because you may meet people online through social media platforms, LinkedIn, whatever online groups that you are a part of. So that could be the blind date because you've never actually met in person. And in person can also mean virtual via Zoom or Google Meet, whatever it is that you choose to use. So the first step is your first date. Well, what is it like when you go on a first date in a romantic relationship? It's your initial meeting. The plan is to get to know the person, to know something about them, for them to know something about you. It's an opportunity to share your needs and your desires. And my one key thing is that you should always be completely authentic. Be yourself, be the person that you are, be the person that you're going to be a year from now if you still know this person. Now, if you guys get into a point where you have transformed from a professional relationship to personal, that's a little different. However, you want to be who you're going to be professionally at this point and every point upon that. Because when there is change or when people see that there is something that is not authentic, it's easy to identify and it changes the dynamic of the sale that you get. So, Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was reading through the slide, but I covered all of that. All right. So your first date is your one-on-one. Again, this is your opportunity to get to know the person and for the person to get to know you. So 2 things to remember. On your first date or your one-on-one, it is important to listen. Listening is way more important than speaking. Listening gives you the opportunity to find out what the person needs or desires, which means you can decide if what you have to offer is a need or a desire for them, or how you can correlate what their needs and desires are to what it is that you have to offer. The second most important thing is the follow-up. The follow-up is like the call the next day after you've had a first date with someone. If no one calls, then there's the understanding that maybe this didn't work out as well, or maybe it was one-sided, or maybe, that it was not positive. But when there is follow-up, it changes the way that people react to the situation. So it could have been a great one-on-one, but if you fail to follow up and say, thank you for taking the time to meet with me, I appreciate your insight on A, B, and C, then that person will reflect upon the meeting that you had, and they are more open to speaking further with you about whatever it is. Even if they're not interested in your product, they may know someone that will be, or they may know some people that they can refer you to. So follow-up is very important. Usually follow-up should happen within the first 48 hours after the meeting. Now, there are times that, and for those individuals that are building teams, you're in direct sales, you probably have a lot of individuals that you are working with on a regular basis. I would suggest that you use a CRM program that reminds you who you need to follow up with, but follow-up is one of the number one reasons why people are not able to maintain professional relationships. It feels one-sided if you meet with someone, you have a great conversation, you don't follow up with them, and then later you come and you ask for their help or you ask for the sale. Usually that doesn't guarantee you the sale. So the next step is the courtship. So courtship in romantic dating, it's kind of like a trial membership. In professional relationships, we call this cultivation. So this is how you cultivate the professional relationship between yourself and the person that you're trying to do business with. In both, it is an act of securing the relationship through persuasion. So your cultivation is your opportunity to persuade this individual that what you have to offer is going to change or improve their life. That is what your job is. Your goal is not necessarily to pitch them in the beginning or even at this stage. Instead of pitching, you are changing the way they view your service or your product. And you're changing it in a way that it becomes, you're leveraging it in a way that it becomes necessary for their life. You've already listened to them. You found out who they are. You figured out what their desires are. And now you know where your product or service meets the need that they have. Why wouldn't they say yes once you present it in that manner, as opposed to just telling them who you work for, what you do, what are your sales, and what are the discounts you're offering? You leverage it in a way that you make it almost impossible for them to say no, because you have a life-changing product or service for them. One thing that I always give information to people that I work with is give before you get. Giving is something that in business you have to do, even if you don't want to, because when you give, you open up a different atmosphere in the relationship. You're telling that person, I am very interested in what your needs or desires are, and I want to help. Now, giving does not necessarily mean that you're giving away your product or service for free, or that you're even giving away your time. A give may be you're referring them to a resource that could be helpful for them. Something that you guys talked about that you found that was a common idea, a common interest. Maybe you send them the title of a book that you recently read, or there was something in a movie that made you think of something, but you're giving something and it creates a deeper connection between you and that person. it creates the human connection. This is not just a sales situation. It is, we are building something together. So I use some other words. There are also the hookups, the commitment, and the marriage. So we'll talk about what the three mean. Now, keep in mind, all of these will not apply to every relationship building situation. Some of them may, some of them may not, and you should be able to determine where you are in those situations based on the information that I present to you. Okay, so the commitment. In the commitment, let's start with the hookup, I apologize. The hookup is a short interaction involving a transaction by either person. It is not a long-term situation. However, the ability to contact in the future is understood. So in romantic relationships, let's just be real, sometimes people hook up. And when they do, there is an exchange of something, and at some time later in their life, they may contact each other or they may not. Sometimes it doesn't end well, so maybe they won't. For a professional relationship, this would be exchanging a sale or service, exchanging a product or service, and maybe the product is enjoyable, you give a review, in response they are thankful for that, and you guys don't talk again until it's time to make that transaction again, or vice versa, they decide to do the same for you. That's what our hookup is. The commitment is you're ready for a collaboration. So in a romantic relationship, we know what a commitment is. It's usually what we used to say a long time ago is going steady, or this is your boyfriend or girlfriend, your significant other. That's the similar to commitment in a professional relationship. You're ready to collaborate, meaning you are ready to share your ideas, your thoughts, your skills, your goals, even an audience. A commitment does not necessarily have to be long-term in a professional relationship, but it can be long-term. It depends on the grounds, the goals that the two businesses have or the two individuals have for a business. The merging of your concepts and ideas creates a win-win for you and your customers. So sharing a platform or sharing an audience is a win-win for both people who are sharing as well as the customers that are getting the information. And this is something that a lot of times we don't think about as much as how we can collaborate with other individuals that maybe they're not in the same business, they're not in the same field, but we target the same customers. And lastly is the marriage. So we all know what marriage is. It is when two people make a commitment to one another for a long-term agreement. Well, this correlates to a partnership. So if you find yourself in a situation with a partner, with someone to create a partnership, it is very much like a marriage. Business is owned and run by two or more entities. Although this is complicated, this is an ultimate professional relationship. It has benefits for all parties involved, as well as the customers or clients that are being targeted. The concept involves sharing of ideas, details, work, as well as profit. Based on a contractual agreement, it increases credibility, trust for both entities. Your goal should be more than just making a profit. Creating credibility is a great thing for business, because when you are credible and people know that you do exactly what you say that you're going to do, when you are within your community and the community recognizes your business as being a business that does what they say they're going to do, an upstanding business, it changes the dynamic. It gives you more opportunity to new referrals, new customers, new individuals that want to do business with you, either through collaboration, partnership, or just making a purchase. So let's recap a bit. For business relationships, you always want to be authentic. You want to be the person that you are, because again, people don't buy for your products. They buy for the person that is selling them the product or the service. Listening is better than speaking. I did some research recently and I listened to someone else that was speaking about the importance of listening. And he said that there is a correlation between listening and speaking that sometimes we don't quite understand if we're not in a field where we have to study that. But if you think about, babies learn to talk by listening. They listen while they're in the womb. They listen while they are infants, and then they learn how to speak based on what they hear. So it depends on what the family is and where this child is that determines the words that they speak, the dialect that they use. So if they're speaking English in the home, of course, they will adapt to English quickly. If they're speaking another language, of course, they would adapt to that. So that shows us how important listening is. Listening to other people gives us insight, and it helps us to move forward in what it is that we're doing. That's why listening is more important. Back to give before you get. Again, I covered that a little bit earlier. It's important to build trust and to build some level of credibility. If I don't know you and I'm not sure about the product, the best way for me to better get to know you is to create a connection between us. What you're giving doesn't necessarily have to be your product or service, but it should be something that is relatable between you and the other person that creates a level of trust, or at least moves us closer to a level of trust. Identify where you are and where you want to be. So I went through some different levels of relationship building. Again, those may not always apply to every situation. It is up to you, the person that is either doing business or in business, to identify who it is you're seeking and what these people look like, and how to identify them when you are speaking with someone. Everyone won't be for you, and that's okay. Sometimes a person is just not for our business. Everything is not for us. Choose quality over quantity. So a quality relationship can lead you to way more clients or customers than just looking for more people that you can sell your product or service to. I've had the opportunity to connect with some people that have connected me with several individuals that have opened up windows and doors, smashed down walls when it comes to the number of individuals that have come to me for help in a client base. So it's not always about conquering the most individuals that are going to purchase. Sometimes it's about connecting with the right people that can lead you to the customers that you want. And be okay with not right now. On a weekly basis, I meet individuals that I think are awesome, that have great ideas, that are thinking of great concepts, and maybe we even have a connection on some level. But sometimes I recognize that what I'm doing and what they're doing is not a great mesh for right now. And that's okay. I remain connected to those individuals, maybe sending an email here and there, sharing a newsletter that I have, or sharing something interesting that I think that they would be interested in, but we're not doing business. Excuse me, a great example is I met an individual 2 years ago through a training that I was in. He asked for my help, but I wasn't sure that I was able to help him. Fast forward a year later, we meet at another networking event. We're having a conversation, and through the conversation, I realized where I could help him. I made an offer, and we are still working together to this day. So sometimes it's not for at that moment. It may be for a little later, but every connection has some level of value. And the sale is not most important. The connection is most important. If you are not able to connect with the people that you're trying to sell to, how do they remain repeat customers or clients? So there needs to be a build of a connection first so that they feel like they do want to purchase from you, and then they will continue to purchase from you. Individuals who feel a connection will also refer their family and friends. They will refer people that they know because they trust you and they know that you are exactly who you say that you are. And this completes my presentation. I would like to thank you for taking the time to listen. This is how you can connect with me. Also, I put my information in the chat. My website is there. I am on Facebook and Instagram at in.connection strategies. And I am also on LinkedIn at scniles-in-connection-strategies. Thank you so much. And we're open for questions if you guys have any questions.
I don't have a question, I have a comment.
Yes.
So, you said listening is better than speaking. So I've always been told that's the reason God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. You should listen twice as long as you should speak. So I love that. I love give before you get. That's pretty much my mantra my whole life with anything that I do, not only in networking, but friendship, family. I mean, anything you do, if you give before you get and you don't expect anything in return, that is always a good thing. And then I really liked that you reiterate, be okay with not right now. I'm okay with not right now a lot in what I do, working for Culligan Water. And it's okay because I went in, I did my job. I explained what services and products that I provide. I introduced myself and what I bring to the table. And if not right now is not okay with me, then what's the alternative? It's stalking or something, illegal. So you have to be okay with it. And I'll tell you, many, many, many times, being okay with not right now has paid off for me, and people will swing around and reach out to me because I was okay with not pushing right then. So I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Just to touch on what you said as far as giving before you get, I know there are a lot of people that don't agree with that, and they're just like, oh, well, you're not going to get anything out of it. What would be the purpose? And I'm a believer in the principle of reciprocity. So I give with expectation that I'm going to get it, but not necessarily from the person that I give to. That's the way the law works. So as long as I'm giving, more is coming to me. It's going to come from different directions. So I don't have an expectation of where it comes from, but I have an expectation that it's going to come, and not just come, but come through 10, 20-fold because I gave heartlessly. And I think a lot of times people miss that part. And like I said, it doesn't have to be that you're giving away your service or your product for free. I've sent people information about programs, services. I am a natural connector. Like I said, I have all of you guys' information. If I know someone that needs the service or can use it, I'll quickly refer. When I met Ryan, I referred him to 3 other people immediately. And I called those people and was like, you need to call him. Like, this is important. You need to get in touch with him. So just doing those things, then more things come to me. So I think that is like one of the most important concepts in business, because when people know that you will do that for them, then they will do that for you. Any other questions or concerns? Anybody hated my presentation altogether? Tell me. I need to know these things. Thank you, thank you, thank you. A lot of times I like to target, especially events like this or groups like this, because it gets, and not to be offensive to anyone, of course, we come in and we introduce ourselves and we say what it is that we do in the companies that we work for. But to be completely honest, I probably about 4 months ago, I was attending networking events 4 days a week, virtually, every day, different places. And honestly, most of those people, I forgot what they did, because you hear so many pitches from people. The ones that I remember are people that followed up with me. and sent like an email out like, hey, we were in the same group. I remember you mentioned this about your business. This is what my business is. And so follow up is like the greatest thing ever. And you don't have to follow up with every person. There's no law that says, okay, there were 9 people in this networking group, I got to send out 9 emails. No, pick out the individuals who are your attractive customer, or who may be able to attract you to the same customer. If there's someone that does something similar to me and I feel like, oh, you target other businesses, helping them to do business development, those are the people that I would contact. Some of you guys are doing sales for different products and services, and if you recognize that your clients may be the same, figure out a way that you can work together to target the same people, but you have 2 different services. So you're not in competition with one another. You're just using the same audience. And I think those are things that we miss out on in business, is working together helps us to make way bigger profits than when we're working separately, because you individual who may be selling, for instance, you sell, you represent Culligan, and someone else that represents another service, you're targeting the same people, but you have a group of people that you know, that person has a group of people that they know. Together, you can talk to this entire group of people, and you're getting access to customers that are in a whole different realm that maybe you wouldn't have had access to before. So connections give us that opportunity. And one thing that my grandmother taught me is like, a closed mouth will never be fed. So if you're not talking to your connections and saying, this is what I'm looking for, can you think of some ways that maybe we can get this done together? Then how will they ever know? Thank you, Will. Appreciate it. And one last thing, if anybody would like to do, I do free 1 hour not strategy sessions, but just intro sessions, just to talk about what it is that you do and what ideas I may have to help you come up with new connections, building new relationships, even changing how to target your customer base. You can send me an information form through my website, or you can shoot me an email. Either way, like I said, it's 1 hour for free, just to talk about what it is that you do and maybe give you some tips or ideas on how you can change the momentum of what you're doing.
Is 12:31, so I would like to really briefly give everyone an opportunity to share any events or announcements that they have before we wrap up. Sharon, I see you dropped yours in the chat. Would you like to share with everyone real quick?
Sure. I offer a second Saturday Pay What You Can at my Southside office near Southport and Madison of Willy Waves therapy, which uses gentle motion that's natural to your body to help relaxation and release tension, and sometimes release traumatic things that have gone on inside your body if you have it over a while. It can help great with fibromyalgia, just basic relaxation. It can help with Parkinson's disease. So it just is overall a great relaxing benefit and you can see what I do kind of, because it's difficult to explain sometimes. So it's Pay What You Can, and then it gives you an opportunity for just a brief half-hour session to kind of see for yourself.
Awesome. Thank you, Sharon. Other events or announcements? All right. Real quick to share with everyone, our speaker on this meeting next week is going to be Brittany Eisenman, who's with Gen Elevate up in the Fort Wayne area, and she is going to share how to encourage employee engagement. So please do not miss that. Even if you do not have a team put together yet, the time to start planning for how you're going to build your team is before you make that first hire. So please do not miss next week's meeting. Unless there are any other questions, comments, concerns, or desires to yell obscenities, we'll go ahead and wrap up for today. So everyone have a fantastic and productive day.
Bye, everybody.